Hi, everyone. I just wanted to talk about the kind of autonomous vehicle and robotaxi industry and just sort of how I see things as they are today and how I'm personally thinking about this space. Obviously, it's extremely exciting time. We're on the brink of, and we're on the brink of really uh, cheap, accessible ubiquitous urban mobility that's safe and consistent and low cost and kind of will be broadly available in uh, cities across the US and North America and China um, in the next year, maybe 2 years, but already live in many cities. And so I just want to there's a lot of discussion on X and among, investors, technologists, builders. Uh, there's a lot of discussion about like, you know, who's in the lead, um, who's going to win, how this market's going to evolve and play out. I just want to share my how I'm reading the situation and in case it's helpful for folks. But essentially there are three I think of it as like there are three major players right now in the game. uh, Waymo, Baidu, uh, and Tesla. So Waymo is obviously part of Alphabet. They have already a live service in five cities in the US, four, and several more coming online in the next year. So SF, LA, Phoenix, Austin, already live. Atlanta, Miami, Washington, D.C., supposedly 2026 is what the company says. Um, they're already doing 250,000 rides weekly, paid rides. Uh, Presumably, most of that is without a safety driver, but I'm sure some of that would be. Um, they've done 20 million cumulative rides or miles, I should say, 20 million cumulative miles. Um, Fleet size approaching 2,000, I think. So uh, yeah, so they're the clear major player for robotaxi service in the U.S. currently. Um, Baidu has a service called Apollo Go. It's in 15 cities throughout China. They have also in the UAE, a couple cities, and Hong Kong. Um, 11 million cumulative rides so far. And I couldn't find a figure for how many weekly rides they're doing, but they have a fleet size of about 1,000. So compared to Waymo's approaching 2,000, um, but they might be utilizing the vehicles more, et cetera. So yeah, they're also a big player. Um, and then Tesla. So Tesla doesn't have a robotaxi service online currently, but Elon and the team have confirmed that it's launching publicly in Austin uh, for the first time. It's already being used for employees, so they're already piloting it for Tesla employees. Um, it's already been doing rides there, and then the plan is for them to scale from Austin to uh, Silicon Valley, and then presumably many more cities across the U.S. if things go well. As things are validated to be safe, they will scale quickly. And yeah, so I just want to kind of that's like the current state of things. But how I see things playing out is this is my take. So I think Tesla will win, and there's a few reasons for that. Uh, so one is they're the only player um, that has a general purpose driving model. So they have it's an AI driving model. It knows how to drive across basically it's basically any city, any street, even paved roads, unpaved roads. Um, so urban, rural environments, different weather conditions. It's So they're the only one that has a general purpose driving model, as opposed to Waymo, Apollo, and Baidu have. Um, they have they have a driving model, but it depends on having a very detailed pre-mapped, basically pre-mapped detailed maps of the specific regions in which the cars drive. Um, so they go into each location and each city, and it's not even like the entire city being covered right now, but they have um, say like the geofenced area within the city. They've mapped it out with some, you know, hardware suites, a bunch of sensors going through and mapping everything, and then that they use that map to inform the driving model. And so it doesn't. So so there's a cost to entering, a new city. There's a cost. There's an overhead. There's a cost to adding capability to another city, to another region. It's not clear like how. Basically, it's not clear how general purpose the driving model is. So they use the again pre-mapped areas and geofenced areas. Um, they also use, of course, LiDAR. This is like the famous discussion, LiDAR versus vision, pure vision. Um, I mean, probably both can solve the problem from a technology perspective. The real question is about the business model. So if you have a LiDAR, obviously it's a plus cameras. It's just it's like extra hardware, so there's extra cost. Um, Tesla is pure vision. They just use cameras. They don't use LiDAR or radar. The Yeah, so the training data, I think they use LiDAR for validating, basically like a ground truth test, but for actually training the model, running the model, they just use cameras, and it's pure. It's a vision in and vehicle controls out system, which is amazing. So it's the only end-to-end general purpose driving model that is pure vision. Um, Tesla has collected, so they don't have again the Robotaxi service online yet, but they have 3.6 billion cumulative miles driven in FSD supervised. So that means people who have existing customers of Tesla vehicles of many millions, I think 10 million vehicles, um, 3.6 billion miles have been driven in supervised mode, and that's a system that lets them uh, basically see the current performance of FSD and also collect feedback case. So if the driver takes over, let's say FSD makes a mistake and the driver takes over, they can trigger sort of a feedback collection. So they can collect those failure cases and and then basically retrain the model. They could take a failure case, replicate it in a simulation, and then retrain the model so it never makes those mistakes again, those same mistakes again. So that's a having the so I think it's if you just look at the fleet size of the robotaxis alone, you're missing the point, which is the fleet size of vehicles that are collecting useful training and feedback data for the system is also very important. Um, so Tesla has the advantage there. Tesla has the advantage on general purpose driving model. They are already FSD supervisors available in many markets already. North America, so I think US, Canada, Mexico. I believe there's a market in Europe already online. China is online for FSD supervised. Um, I think they're using again general purpose model. They might fine tune the model for certain markets so that it's like it just knows like the rules of say the legal driving rules to drive in say China versus the US. Like there's some nuance there, but the fine tuning just kind of uh, lets it get even a little more accuracy and performance there. But the other big area that Tesla has an advantage is, of course, the manufacturing. So, like Tesla has, it's completely vertically integrated, right? Everything from the hardware computer that's on the car, like the FSD computer, AI4, AI5 coming, um, all the way to, the obviously the vehicle itself. Initially, they'll use Model Y, um, to like they'll use the existing Model 3, Model Ys to light up Robotaxi in Austin. But when Cybercab comes, that's a sub $25,000 cost vehicle to manufacture. Um, that's a completely they're using a completely new manufacturing process. Um, it's going to be really specialized for robotaxi and for really low cost to manufacture and scale. So that's all Tesla. They'll leverage the existing manufacturing capability and factories across different countries. Um, that's a huge advantage, right? So that plus the fact that again they're not using lidar or any additional sensors, so they have a clear path to the very cheapest vehicle on the road that can run full autonomous, unsupervised software, and ultimately power the robotaxi fleet. I think ARK Invest, they do great research. They predict 30 cents per mile, maybe 25 cents per mile would be the cost for mobility, and that's a third of like half or a third of the Uber Lyft current cost per mile. Um, so yeah, Waymo doesn't manufacture the cars, right? They're a technology. They do the driving software, but they don't manufacture the cars, so they have to partner with Jaguar, Chrysler, Toyota. They don't have a path to, um, and those are not even, I believe those are not even all electric vehicles. So they don't have a path to rapidly scaling. And uh, yeah, there's not a path to go from 1,000 to 1 million cars that do this anytime soon, unlike Tesla. And they don't have a path to manufacturing the cheapest vehicle that can do this either. Um, Partly because it's not all in-house and vertically integrated, partly because of the sensor thing, the additional sensors that they have to pay for. Um, Same thing with Baidu. I mean, they apparently do a bit more vertical integration with the vehicle manufacturing, but it's still not all like in-house. It's, when you have a joint venture, it's not the same as like having teams within the same company being able to work together on a project. So, um, yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting. Like, there's probably room in the market for more than one service. But listen, like, I think we only need, if Tesla can serve the market, if Tesla can make enough vehicles available, provide the cheapest cost per mile, provide a consistent user experience, rider experience, which they will. And like the in-car experience is amazing, right? The entertainment, the apps, the Netflix, video games. Like, um, I think I think if I think really it's like they can take the market as fast as they can scale, and we don't necessarily need like another app. We don't need two or three players. We just need one that works well, and you'll be able to have different vehicle types for different size of groups, like one person, two people, a family. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. But Tesla to me is the sleeping giant, and um, I'm personally all in on Tesla for this. But yeah, let's see how it all shapes out. Thanks for listening.